Thank you everyone for coming. We are gathered today with our friends from the Grand Rapids Police Department, Dean Transportation to put a spotlight on back-to-school safety to ensure that our students, staff, and volunteers get to and from school safely. School starts for GRPS Tuesday, August 24th. We're back 100% in person, 5 days a week. And for GRPS alone, this means nearly 15,000 students, 2,000 staff members will be on the roads, on our sidewalks, at the bus stops, and in the bike lanes, in the crossing walks, headed to and from school. We want our entire region to be put on notice that beginning Tuesday, August 24th, you'll need to slow down, keep a lookout, please put your cell phone down while you're driving, and be on point to ensure that students and staff are safe. With me today is Larry Johnson, Chief of Staff and the Executive Director of Public Schools and Safety, Chief Eric Payne, and Captain Jeff Collard from the Grand Rapids Police Department to share tips and their thoughts on back-to-school safety. I also want to recognize our President of the Grand Rapids Board of Education, Ms. Jen Shockey. Before I turn it over, I want to remind everyone that universal masks are required for indoors for all students, staff, and visitors, pre-K through 12, through all of our schools, regardless of your vaccination status. Now I'd like to turn it over to our Chief of Staff and Head of Public Safety, Larry Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Roby, and thank all of you for joining us today. Board President Gene Shockey, Chief Payne, and Captain Collier from the Police Department. Just want to give a thanks and a shout out to our public safety staff who typically would join us on a morning like this, but right now they're with Dean's Transportation. They're out at athletic fields, and they're even driving some routes now to make sure that our students are going to get to school safe. As I was driving in this morning, I noticed the increased amount of traffic on the road. So that's an early indication to me that schools are open. I saw kids from other districts already moving through our community as they go to school. So we wanted to take this opportunity just to remind everyone that school's open. And as I put my teaching hat on now, just to talk about some school safety tips for our parents, for our students, and for this entire community. The main message here is to slow down. Slow down, obey the flashing red signs on the buses, and just remember we have a lot of excited young people who are very interested in going back to school and who will not be paying attention as they cross streets. Our crossing guards have been trained. The police department have those individuals out and stationed at various checkpoints throughout the city. With younger kids, we want to remind them to use the school crosswalks and to cross at the corners. We want to encourage our parents just to do a dry walk with them today sometime to ensure that your students are crossing at the right locations. We want to remind our high school students, although you sometimes like to take a shortcut and walk in the middle of the street, we want to get you back up on the sidewalks, and because our drivers are not prepared for you right now. We want to identify bus stop locations and make sure that our bus stop locations are not only secure, but they've been cleared of debris and bushes have been trimmed around those bus stops. So our reach is to the community as well this morning to assure that as our kids prepare to come back to school, that from a crime prevention through environmental design standpoint, that we're cutting bushes and we're making sure that our young tykes can be seen as they approach the corners. For our bike riders, we want to make sure that they're staying in the bike lanes and riding, if you're going to ride a bike to school, making sure you have a helmet on. So there's a lot of preparation that our parents can do before those kids leave for school. Remember, our kids are leaving early in the morning, so bright colors are so important as we retrain our driving community on how to be aware of our students. Being aware of our surroundings, our community, being aware of suspicious vehicles that hang out around our schools and reporting that information to the Grand Rapids Police Department. Being aware of school zones, and for me, I say if the speed limit is 25, back that down to about 15. Just take into account that we have a lot of young kids that are moving around our communities. We have over 15,000 kids that will be moving around from Grand Rapids, but there are other school districts in the city limits of Grand Rapids where young kids will be moving around as well. Again, remember the speed limits, but more importantly, remember that our kids are excited to come back to school. They have not this type of opening has not occurred in almost 2 years. So there's added excitement around coming to school. I'm excited. I know our superintendent and board president is excited, and I know the police department is excited now because now they turn the babies back over to us for at least 8 to 10 hours a day. But we want to keep them safe. We want to keep our kids safe. We want to make sure that they, as they travel to and from school, from porch to the portal of the school and back home again, that they get there safely. I want to now turn it over to a good friend of ours and absolutely supporters of the Grand Rapids Public Schools, Captain Jeff Collard and Chief Eric Payne, who will have a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, Superintendent, Board President. Appreciate being here. It seems like we were just meeting at the end of the school year not too long ago. But Mr. Johnson's correct. We're excited about the school year getting started. Kids getting back to our new normal. Just want to talk a little bit about what Mr. Johnson talked about obeying the laws, especially around schools. Safety is our #1 priority. I want to have another year where kids have been able to go to school and feel safe while they're at school, but also getting there. We have a great partnership with GRPS, which has already been talked about, and that will continue. We talk constantly about things going on in the city and also things that could affect the schools. So we will continue that partnership, and we look forward to it. My captains, Captain Collard, he's in charge of the west side. The other captains are a little busy today. They couldn't make it, but we have a great relationship with Mr. Johnson, and we talk constantly about things that are going on. We do have that crossing guard program that we as a police department is mandated by the state to oversee. We take that responsibility seriously. We want to make sure kids are crossing and getting to school in a safe manner. We will continue to collaborate with our other city departments, traffic safety, engineering, and making sure, as mentioned, ZUB, crime prevention through environmental design. We're here to do whatever we can to make sure kids feel safe and are safe in our community and are able to get back to school.